that? Nah. Take your camera and go. Fucking drive.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2022 found footage horror film, Lurking. The film is co-written and directed by H. Owen Richardson, and the film stars Kai Hall, who also co-wrote the film, Craig Wakefield, and H. Owen Richardson, who directs the film. Right, okay, the film follows two documentary filmmakers. Well, actually, the film starts with a character appearing on screen saying that he had just recently visited a car boot sale and picked up a camera. Some camera equipment at the car boot sale that unfortunately didn't work. However, he found like an SD card, and when he checked the footage on the SD card, it held some pretty disturbing content that showed two local documentary filmmakers who had gone missing, and it appears to tell their story. He claims that what he's found is disturbing. He's put like a raw, he's put like the footage together as best he can for us to watch, and he believes the footage is real. And these two documentary filmmakers are heading off into the local woods to try and find out more information about the local legend of the Goat Man. So you've got Kurt, who is in front of the camera, and then you've got John, who's behind the camera, like filming everything. So the first part of the film, it's Kurt in front of the camera, being all enthusiastic, talking about the legend of the Goat Man, all his supposed abilities, etc., etc. They carry on talking, discussing the Goat Man, discussing this, that, and the other. They try and do a seance. It doesn't really work. Nightfall hits, and guess what? Things get pretty scary pretty quickly. Right, what are my thoughts on Lurking? Well, this is obviously, if you like, a very low budget found footage film. It's made by obviously enthusiasts. I like it when you get these like raw found footage films from people who are obviously passionate about horror films and found footage, which these clearly are. There's some really fine ideas going on in this film, and as you know, I really love found footage. So I'm going to be reasonably complimentary of this film, because it does have some things in the film that actually work quite well, but it's also got some things in the film that don't, that kind of drag it down. And I couldn't help but feel that this almost felt like a segment in a VHS film or something, if it had been like, really focused and, cut down quite drastically. This could have been a pretty decent, tale in an anthology film series, if I'm being honest. Because I think one of the weaknesses of this film is it drags things out a little too much. Now, I like the setup of found footage films generally. You've got the setup, you've got the people in front of the camera, it's all jolly and happy, they're doing a documentary on this, or this, whatever. Or you get the reason why they're filming. And then you start getting, little sinister things happening here and there that kind of, put you on the edge of your seat again, get your nerves going again. And this took a long time to get to that stage, in my opinion. If I'm honest, I found the character of Kurt Douglas, the guy in front of the camera, he's American, but he was like massively over enthusiastic. And I found him a little bit grating, if I'm being honest. And I didn't warm to the character so much. The guy behind the camera, John, a little bit more, but you never ever see his face. You just see him in conversation with this Kurt. And I found it a little bit grating, and it went on. There was like too much pointless conversation, too much filler, it felt like. And then start doing seances to kind of get in touch with the Goat Man, but why would you do that when the Goat Man isn't a spirit, if you like. He's supposed to be a physical form. So there's things that the film does that I think that the film didn't necessarily need. And it's almost like sometimes found footage films can work well with less characters, and sometimes found footage films work better with more characters. And I think this needed a couple more characters, if I'm honest, because the only one you ever really see in front of the camera is Kurt, apart from this lad that found the SD card at the car boot sale, who in actual fact directed the film. So it kind of slows the whole thing down. I did like the idea of this lad finding a camera at a car boot sale and finding this footage on a SD card. You know, when you watch it at the beginning, it feels genuine. That performance is definitely genuine. It feels it, you know, and it's quite a nice idea, you know, finding the footage like that at a car boot sale. I like the legend of the Goat Man, the way it's described and all this kind of stuff, and you see little clips on videos and pictures of it that people have captured over the years and stuff. I've no idea if the legend of Goat Man is real or not. I haven't researched that, but I suspect there's some urban legend somewhere about a goat man, I'm sure. And then it lags again when things start getting spooky, and they do get spooky. You know, when it gets dark, and then when they're in the woods on their own, and then they start hearing this screeching in the woods. Honestly, guys, it's pretty intense stuff, and it definitely does the job because the characters feel like they're absolutely terrified. You know, you get the shortness of breath and the panicking and the running and all the, you know, the camera flying everywhere. That's all great. That's classic found footage stuff, and it works really, really well. But then it kind of slows it down again when there's a whole sequence where they've got these walkie-talkies. They find a severed hand. They get these walkie-talkies, and they're talking to this voice on the other end of the walkie-talkie. And again, that's a great idea, but it went on far too long, this conversation. And then it felt like it stumbled a little bit into the conclusion of these two characters, Kurt and John. And then it finished again, the film. Thankfully, I think quite strong finish, because it finished back with the character Ralph, who found the footage at the car boot, you know, on the SD card. It goes back to him at the end of his footage that he's showing us. And then he does something that initially I was kind of like, what? He says he's going to go to the location where the footage is, because it's just a couple of miles away, where the goat man is supposedly there. But he goes there during the day, so you kind of think, oh, okay. And then it finishes, actually, with this character sort of thing, almost like, and it is quite creepy and spooky the way it finishes. So it has its moments. There were points in this film where it was a 4 out of 10, and there were points in this film where it was 6 out of 10. So I thought it was only fair to go somewhere down the middle of that, really. I think there was massive potential here, and I think I love to see, like, you know, these amateur films, found footage films. And this is freely available to watch on YouTube if you're looking for it, guys. I don't think you'll be massively disappointed if you're a fan. Look for Unhinged Pictures on YouTube and you'll find it. I don't think, if you're a fan of found footage, I don't think you'll be massively disappointed here. There are some pretty decent ideas going on, but obviously there's some glaring issues with it as well. But it's one that I didn't massively dislike or anything like that. So let me know in the comments, guys, what your thoughts are on this film, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.